Joining us right now is the Face the Nation moderator and CBS News chief foreign affairs correspondent, Margaret Brennan. Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me here at the table.
Good to see you.
Of course. Thank you for joining us. There's a lot to talk about, so let's jump right in. Over the last few weeks, the Biden administration have been saying that an attack is imminent, but we haven't seen anything yet. So question is, are we being played by Vladimir Putin?
That's what everyone's asking. What is his ultimate goal here? But we know that this has to be a decisive weekend, if not for any other reason than the 20th is when he said the military exercises would end. That's Sunday. So he's got this gun cocked and loaded. Whether he pulls the trigger or not has been that question. But all the signs on the ground, including just this morning, the United States says he has now upped the number of personnel to about 190,000. And they said personnel, not just troops. That's people at field hospitals, but that's also intelligence assets in and around Ukraine. So all the pieces are there. So as Christina Ruffini was saying, the signs for diplomacy are there, the sliver of a chance. But the State Department also said they'll call off those talks if Ukraine and Russia actually go into a conflict.
So you said the signs are there. Do you mean that the checklist that Vladimir
Yes.
Putin is going down, this is what he would be doing before there would be an invasion?
And that's exactly the right way to think about it, according to the U.S. officials that we have spoken to. The scenarios they have played out, this looks like checking the boxes to get to that point, because they are, as David Martin has reported, actually moving tanks into attack positions. They are actually carrying out cyber attacks, as the U.S. said today. They've been focused on the banking and defense sectors in Ukraine. So that checklist of the things, plus the predicate of creating an incident in the southeast, it looks like he's getting ready to make that decision.
So, Margaret, give us some context here. Part of the pretext for Vladimir Putin's machinations is his claim that he's repeated over and over again, which is that the United States pledged back in 1990 that they would not expand NATO eastward. That would mean including Ukraine. But that's not really true. He does seem to have a historical, there's something about Ukraine that he wants. Explain that to our viewers.
Well, in terms of moving eastward, Ukraine, as even President Biden said, isn't about to join NATO. They've been sort of twisting in the wind since 2008, they would say, and they haven't met the standard for being admitted. So that hasn't changed in terms of the provocation that Vladimir Putin may be claiming is there. But in terms of how that would matter, moving the borders, and this is the nightmare scenario, is getting NATO troops on high alert so close in proximity to Russian troops that any errant shot, any right turn Russian forces could make could spark a broader conflict. But in terms of the window for negotiation, the United States says these maximalist positions put them in a really tough spot, because they can't say, Ukraine, you will never join, even though there's no active process underway to pull them in to NATO. So that is sort of the standoff. The things that are being offered are arms control talks, other options.
We seem to be really focused on Ukraine in a way. Obviously, the NATO forces seem to be behind this country. But I'm curious, for folks who don't understand the politics here, why wouldn't a better deterrent be for Vladimir Putin to be staring back at a force that's equally aligned on the border?
Right. Well, the U.S. military would say that Russia will have air dominance. They will overwhelm the Ukraine forces. And President Biden has said he won't send Americans to die for Ukraine. He will send them to die, potentially, for the 30 NATO countries that border it, which is why you have that sort of crescent there. And to Vlad's argument or suggestion there, I mean, the importance here for Russia, or Vladimir Putin, based on some of the public statements, is that he views Ukraine as central to Russia's imperial designs historically. He does not recognize that Ukraine has a right to exist as an independent state and people.
Yeah, the Crimea has been fought over for the last 150 years or so. The fact that the president of Ukraine is leaving the country to go to Munich. What exactly does that say in terms of the timing of all of this?
It's a fascinating thing that the Munich Security Conference is happening in these next few days. Every official I've talked to have said it's not really a good idea for him to be leaving the country. While he will be embraced by the German chancellor and the United States vice president, he is allowing for a potential window here for action. Last point I would make is it's also quite ironic. Munich historically is thought of diplomatically as this concession point, appeasement, failure in 1938 to stand up to Hitler and tell him to go no further. And that weighs on the minds of Europeans who say, we can't appease Vladimir Putin right now with saying, okay, you can have these small territories here or there. They see it, or at least the United States sees it, as the need to defend the entire NATO and Western alliance.
All right, Margaret, thank you so much. And be sure to watch Margaret on Face the Nation this Sunday when she'll be talking with Secretary of State Blinken, who says he's trying to prevent war.